Watson and friends take on what used to be TMNT. It's Carbon 6 now. They pick up an organization. We'll see which team winds up on top. These are your two perennial, I think, European console teams. Both of these guys have looked good all season. And it's time for someone to come up on top.
And Rival are certainly looking to try and give themselves as much of an advantage as possible, taking away those standard bans of Odin. And I like the Circuit ban because of the display that we've seen Carbon 6 have on it prior.
Yeah, a lot of power out of the jungle there specifically. So take that away. Sylvanus and Cabrakan, two Guardians selected already. And it'll be Susano instead of the Circuit coming out here. Carbon 6's Auzrik, certainly going to look strong on the Susano like he has so far.
And I'm sure that Carbon 6 are more than happy to have that Cabrakan pick secured away for themselves. We've seen how dominant Cabrakan has been inside and out of team fights. So it'll be pretty interesting for Rival to try and maintain and really shut down that Cabrakan.
Well, they're going to go with the Poseidon, and across the way, the Isis will be the mid laner of choice for Carbon. So we'll see how it works out. Both Rival and Carbon 6 have a lot of power in their mid lane. Like I said, Watson, the perennial. I think the name, the number one name on Team Rival shifted over from the solo to the mid lane at the beginning of this split and has made a big splash.
Are you just gonna dadgrum me the entire day today? With the
that's
you
that's
gotta.
the official aggro pose.
It's that one now.
No,
he's transitioned. He went from finger guns to that right there.
You need the lean back aggro pose. That's the full one, the full out. And he's definitely going to be the guy to complain about the mid lane. But Apollo, not Heroine, so won't be in the mid lane. Apollo going to be likely the hunter. This guy comes in and out. We see a lot of the on-hers and even some of the Shibalakes. But the Apollo is just always a staple.
But what's also always a staple is Rapio as a jungler, especially on the side of EU, and going for the Nemesis. I love this pickup by Rapio on the Nemesis because of the Cabrakan. While ideally you think, oh, it's a Nemesis, or it's only one tank at the moment, a Nemesis is perfect for eliminating characters that can be problematic, especially ones such as Cabrakan, who's known for just how tanky he can be, as well as the damage that he can output. So if you're looking for a way to shut somebody down, that's certainly one way to do it.
Makes sense. Certainly going to be an option. And with Sun Wukong selected next to him, certainly a lot of tankiness. So things to look out for. Carbon 6 versus Team Rival. The two top teams in Europe go head to head. We'll take a look as we head on the battlefield right about now. Everybody sort of in their expected position. No surprises. No support Nemesises or solo Susanos. Everything where they should be. So I don't think anybody's going to be too surprised. Welshbeastq, however, we've seen him on these hunters that can really just smack you up, right? You find him on the on-her and he gets the kills and then that results in the tower. Apollo can certainly do that, but he's a little bit more of a, he's less of a beat you up hunter and more of an everything else hunter, I feel.
It's actually interesting that Welshbeastq opted for the Apollo, so it leads me to believe that he's looking more for the early team fight engagements on this Apollo. He wants to just try and jump into whatever fight might be happening on the map, because, I mean, that's your main advantage. You had the global ultimate available, and while you might not necessarily have the mana that you would want to rotate from one side of the map to the other, it's still an effective tool to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And across the way, Ullr doesn't even have an ult, so a little bit of extra power in that regard. Rapio going to deal with some damage. Actually, that's a nice topic to bring up. The fact that Ullr doesn't have an ult. So he loses the burst damage. Most ults wind up being burst, right? So he loses the burst damage, but he gains so much more. 2-on-4 here on the right side. Rapio getting controlled a little bit by the mid-mage. He's likely to fall down, and he will. It's Auzrik that starts things off. What a surprise. First blood going the way to Carbon 6.
Rapio getting a little bit greedy early on, trying to invade onto Carbon 6's jungle, and as a level 1 Nemesis, that's not necessarily the place you want to be.
Nah, that's not Nemesis's wheelhouse. She does very well the later the game goes. She's definitely not in a Wheelish or a Thanatos in the sense that you're not really looking to start off early. If it's a 2-on-2 invade, I don't hate it. I think she can maybe steal something away with a slice and dice, but once that mid lane and it becomes a 4-on-2, you got to get out of there.
And going back to what you were discussing with the Ullr not having an ultimate, what you're looking for out of Ullr isn't really the ultimate. It's just the lane pressure.
Yeah.
And especially against an Apollo, Ullr is probably one of the highest pressuring ADCs. So this is an ideal situation for Atonement.
So I was actually going to ask you how Welshbeastq changes the way he plays versus an Ullr as opposed to any other hunter. Because usually, like if you're playing against the Honor or any other character, a lot of it is waiting out the ultimates. Gnome, nah, he'll with the pull, nah, he'll be fine here. Without the ultimate to Gnome, he doesn't have a jump away, so he has to get under his tower quickly. Rapio's going to help here. There's a lot of counterplay around the ultimates. So you sort of wait out. Oh, he used Desert's Fury. Now I can go ahead. Is there any? What is it like playing against the Ullr? Do you have to worry about anything in that regard?
Well, the problem with Ullr is that he does have the early on burst potential due to the fact that he has 4 different abilities.
Right.
I mean, granted, the jump doesn't necessarily count as a typical ability damage because you don't want to ideally be jumping on top of somebody for the most part unless the lane is cleared already. But it's still damage, and it's certainly damage that Welshbeastq is going to have to be wary of because between both of his ones, the stun from the axe stance, and then once you transition that over the bow stance and you get your 1 and 3 off, that's a ton of chunking. Yeah. And it's damage that a lot of hunters can kind of overlook if they're not playing it safe.
Certainly something that I think Welshbeastq has to be aware of. Of course, he does have a couple of tools. One, he gets some extra protections when he mezzes, and the dash can make it hard for Atonement to really find these, the Hail of Arrows into the Bladed Arrow combo. So we'll have to watch out and see just how accurate Team Rivals Hunter is going to wind up being. Rapio heading back to base here, likely to start up his boots.
And safe to say, boots are probably the best way to go for this Nemesis. He's already fallen a decent ways behind Auzrik on that Susano, but kind of expected when you're taking the first blood spill from a little bit of greed early on. Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing really, for him to go ahead and grab. Nice little avoidance. Sun Wukong comes in hot into the lane, but Gnome wants no part of it, so he's able to go ahead and get out of there. Watson, version 3. He's zoning out his opposition. Gonna get some extra farm there versus the Isis, and already ahead by about a half a level 6 on the Poseidon.
And that's exactly where you want to be as a Poseidon as well. And I really like the Poseidon pick facing off against the Isis because this is a matchup that could really go either way. It all depends on who gets their skill set off in the best situation.
Yeah, the Isis is going to be able to counter the ultimate out of Poseidon, but of course the Poseidon doesn't have to use his right away. I actually like the Poseidon pick into literally every other selection. You've got the solo lane, the jungle, and even Welshbeastq that are highly dependent on those movement abilities. And so the Poseidon selection is so strong there. Ultimate out of Jacob is going to be answered by an ultimate out of, well, everybody. And Gnome is the first one to pick up the kill in this team fight. There's Predators as he pounces down from his somersault cloud, and then Clone will fall down as Watson battles with him. But it's a 1-4-1 trade. Auzrik and Jacob both fall down.
And Gnome really wants to kill onto Mr. Turtle. He's able to find it. Spirit Ball not going to be able to save his life, but at the same time, Predators onto Watson. That's so greedy.
Yeah, 1v3. I don't know about this one, bud. With the ultimate down already, kind of a curious thought process here. Falls down finally to the hand of Gnome, unable to take out Watson. So that is a dead solo laner. And with the lead already in Gnome's favor, it's just going to push it even further. Blue buff being aggressed on. And, ooh, Spirit Ball not hitting Gnome. Very important there.
Had that Spirit Ball connected, I think we might have seen Gnome fall down as well. But instead, able to get back to the safety of his tower, and Elementals are going to go the way of Carbon 6. Meanwhile, in the dual lane side, just 2 Hunters farming away.
You know what the biggest problem there was for Mr. Turtle?
He can't swim?
No, I mean, there's no water on the map.
But he's a turtle.
He didn't have shell.
He's meditation.
But he didn't have shell. Turtles need their shell.
I have nothing to say to you right now.
He needed the shell. If he had the shell, he just would have been a little bit safer. He could have also switched up the pick. I guess he could have went Kuzenbo.
I'm done. This is, am I allowed to quit still, or is that like just completely off the table?
Completely off the table. You're not allowed to. Not allowed to. Off the desk. We're not giving you the desk back.
Please don't say that to me. I just got it back.
Not going to be the case here. Team Rival and Carbon. They need to push forward here.
Neither of these teams really wanted to take the overly aggressive stance, though both of them have interest in farming it out just a little bit longer. Rapio, because A, he wants to catch up, and B, he's a Nemesis, so he's not quite ready to start engaging pretty heavily just yet. But as far as Carbon 6 is concerned, I think their main issue is just they're worried the Apollo might not be online enough yet to rotate over and give them the upper hand in the team fights that they're looking for.
So Carbon 6 definitely have the early game team. This is what you're looking for, right? I think you can get a little bit earlier than Susano, right? It's not the most early game team. But this is definitely a team that can mess around. I mean, you're looking at the Cabrakan on the left side of the map, no less. You're looking at the Cabrakan, the Isis, right? These are all characters that can bang right away. You want to start looking for the Gold Fury early on. How early are we talking? Obviously, with 8 minutes, is it time now? Do you want to see 10 or?
We've seen Isis ultimate secures onto Gold Furies as early as like 4 to 6 minutes into a game. I think that window of opportunity kind of went. It kind of left the building because of the fact that Carbon 6 tried to engage onto Rapio's speed buff, and that extended engagement where it was Predators trying to pick up an additional kill, Gnome not allowing Mr. Turtle back safely, and then 50-meter fly was just both places at once. He was trying to peel from Mr. Turtle, then he was looking to potentially pick up a kill from Predators, chase down a Watson. They just overcommitted and spent way too much time hanging out on the side of Team Rival's jungle, and because of that, I think it really slowed down their chances of looking for that early objective. So, Rival now are at a point to where they can correspond to it should they look for it.
Yeah, at this point, I think Carbon 6 need to look for instead of the cheese or the early game play due to your composition, they need to look for the regular, just let the game come to them at this point. And the game will come to them, I think, earlier than some other compositions might, but in any event, 50-meter fly with this Isis ultimate certainly needs to start thinking about making some sort of move, and that's what Carbon 6 are going to do, but they're looking more for the team fight here, Taco. Perfect grab of the support, and there's going to be the combination onto Turtle as the Kraken comes out. Can't quite swim right there, but he's still, the dot takes him down. Jacob just nails him in the corner of the ultimate, and that looks like all Rival want to do.
3 ultimates expended into Mr. Turtle, and it doesn't even matter. Carbon 6 can't even look at that Gold Fury now with all the members of Rival being available.
Yeah, they gave it a shot. The pull from Jacob not going to be on the money either. And Carbon actually wound up on the downside. The Oracles will be started by Team Rival. Carbon 6 here in tow just in case they decide to look for the gold, but it won't be that. Instead, it'll just be the Oracles. 10 minutes, that means the Fire Giant spawns up. 6 kills in total. Team Rival with 2/3 of them. And as we take a look towards the sky, it's going to be the Apollo landing down safely. Atonement has the jump. He's got the movement speed. No reason to really go too ham.
I think it was mostly just concerned that Welshbeastq might have looked for the engage, pulled off the mez, and then he would have been in danger from the Susano or forced to expend his beads. But he'll be just fine, just farming it out safely in his jungle, and knowing that that Oracle vision is available for Team Rival, that's just a perfect situation for them.
We've got the vision all the way out, and that was one of the problems that we saw last time, was that the vision really wasn't complete in our set earlier. The other teams that we got to take a look at when it came down to Quantum and Kaz, they just weren't able to really find themselves on the positive side when it comes to vision. And so a lot of ganks onto specifically the Hunter, or the Hunters, plural. And that can be remedied by a couple of wards. Just now, you see 1 blue ward on the left side for Team Rival. And then, of course, the Oracle vision is going to go to them as well. But Carbon 6 doesn't have any vision there on the left side. But I think with Apollo, you can get away with it a little bit better than a Shibalanke.
Most certainly. And on top of that, if you look at Welshbeastq build, and you can actually, we've seen him before. I was just watching him recently in this dual lane, playing the aggressive stance now that he has the Ickful online, which is an ideal situation for him because Atonement opted for the Transcendence. That's standard. That's fine, especially as an Ullr. You kind of expect that to come out. But because he has the Ickful, he does still do a little bit more damage if he's able to find the in-hands against Atonement.
Some people don't like building attack speed on Apollo. Some people feel that the way his Audacity works, that if you actually go over the attack speed cap with your items when Audacity is procced, even though you're not getting that 100% of the time, that's a waste.
But the fact that he's opting to build into what I'm assuming will most likely be a kin size, I think that that's an excellent build. I mean, that's the chunk, and it suits Welshbeast's playstyle so well. He loves playing as aggressively as possible, and so he's going to build to do just that.
Gold Fury started up here by the guys on Carbon 6. Response coming out from 3 of the players, but it's already gone. C6 pick up the objective, pull out of Jacob, not going to be finding a target this time around, and Rapio just has to walk away. Team Rival unable to really look for it, find it, or even do anything about it. It's going to be all Carbon 6. Now here, aggressing on the tier 1. Love the ultimate at Auzrik, just a delaying tactic. Get off of my lawn. Just go away. And his team responds, and Team Rival can't push up.
But without that Susano ultimate being available, Rival immediately head towards that Portal Demon, and it looks like it's going to go their way.
Yeah, there's a Whirlpool to help out. The Portal Demon goes down. It's going to be Team Rival this time around, jumping forward. There's help. Watson on the board, taking down the opposition. His first kill of the game. Mr. Turtle's in some trouble, being controlled, and there's some help with the Whirlpool one more time. Watson doesn't get the kill, but Atonement does. Big assist from the mid lane Mage. Watson version 3 is able to figure things out and make it happen. Mid lane push coming out. Tier 1 tower likely to fall. Welshbeastq by himself trying to defend, and more like just watch. He's not going to do anything as an Apollo.
Not much that he can do in this situation either, especially since while all the ultimates have been expended on the side of Team Rival, there isn't really much opportunity for Carbon 6 to try and fight back into this one.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen in that mid lane anytime soon. I did like his positioning, though, his being Welshbeast's. He pushed up, as soon as the tower fell, he pushed up really far, daring the opposition to really jump on him, because when it comes down to stalling and baiting, Apollo is one of the best. He can mez you and just wait. And then he dashes away, he slows you, and he speeds himself up a little bit. And then his teammates can respond, he can sort of trap you. Nobody from Rival taking the bait, though.
Rival could tell immediately when a hunter's feeling this confident and it doesn't look like anybody's around them at least. Something's probably going on here that isn't right. So smart of Rival to just secure the kills that they were able to and the tower and then just back off.
Expensive build, however, being fulfilled here for our hunter as the Chinsai is done. And I'm with you. I do not have the thought process that if you overcap attack speed during Audacity that it's quote-unquote wasted stats. Well, I think that you can't depend on Audacity to be up all the time.
Even if he were to opt into an Aussie, he'd still be just fine as far as attack speed cap is concerned. Would it be higher than the standard or what we're accustomed to seeing? Of course, but there's nothing wrong with that when you're going to be delivering quite the punch.
And I always, when it comes down to Chinsai, attack speed, like I said, Chinsai scales with attack speed, not power. So you want to find more of those AS items. The penetration certainly does help, which is kind of a weird mathy thing when it comes down to Chinsai, how it's affected by pen, even though it's percent damage. But in either event, we're likely to see some penetration come online. If not the next item, which I expect it to be, the item after.
And Atonement, actually, with the Fatalis online now to try and combat a little bit of what Welshbeastq was trying to get going with the attack speed. Watson backing up the Hunter player as well. And there's the rest of Rival. Carbon 6 is like, hey, maybe we should come check out what's going on. But that tower is already destined to fall.
500 gold. There's Auzrik showing up, not able to fund the grab, however. Team Rival on a not full retreat. They're just kind of dancing around, seeing if Carbon 6 are going to fully engage them, which doesn't look like C6 are interested. So it's going to be a retreat coming out from both teams, although Team Rival taking the more aggressive pathing. Rapio, knowing the tier 1 tower is down, can walk through the mid lane and not really be too concerned.
And, I mean, that's kind of just what you expect from the Nemesis at this point in time. Not to mention that he knew Gnome was hanging around in the jungle side of the solo lane for Team Rival. So since he just finished proxy farming a couple of waves, that's all that we've seen from Gnome and Predator so far. Both of them actually, while the rest of the teams were swinging over to that T1 and duo, were just proxy farming away.
just doing it, just playing solo lane, solo. Sometimes
it's an island.
Yeah, that's one of the older. I don't know if you want to call it a meme or not, but that's one of the older things in Smite. Solo island goes all the way back to. So we're celebrating Smite's 3rd birthday, but that's just since it's been out of beta. Smite goes all the way back to 2012. If you look at some of the oldest accounts in the game, shout outs to Lobster over there in EU. It still has one of the original Smite accounts on the Smite Pro League. But 5 years. And I think we've been saying Solo Island for all 5 years.
Pretty much, but I mean, there's no other way to really call it, considering how often those players love to just be left alone in no man's land.
Yeah, I mean, it also comes into real life. Totally always just kind of wants to be by himself, eat his lunch. It's kind of what he does, right? Stuck out there on Solo Island. You're a hunter player. You always need assistance.
I like being left alone too, though. I wish it was more of a 1v1 scenario, but unfortunately,
that's what we've seen in season 4. The hunters really just get that 1v1.
And competitive.
Yeah.
No, it's not the same though, because I mean, if you try to play ranked and you're streaming, you get a 4-man gank at a minute, and it's like, this doesn't happen in the Pro League.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why we don't stream your games, Taco.
Thank God.
That's why we stream these guys.
Man, that
Predators
would be so bad.
Able to sneak out that tier 1 tower on the right side. 500 gold for him and his team. Although teams still about even here. 500 gold separating. Not really much to complain or exclaim about.
Both of these teams, again, just taking up a little bit more passive routing, and Rival don't seem to have an issue whatsoever with Carbon6 just kind of letting them farm up as much as they want.
That's the thing. If I'm playing Nemesis, I'm sitting there like, look, man, I will wait here forever. If I'm Nemesis, I'm down to fight 0 until I get my 6 items. That's Nemesis, right?
Rival looking for the fight now, though, pulling this Gold Fury.
And a little bit of help from the solo lanes as Gnome makes the rotation. Gold Fury taken out by Carbon6, stolen away, and now Team Rival looking for the revenge. They can't find much of anything. Nice stop, and there's the pull back. Mr. Turtle might be in trouble. Long-range stun coming out of the mid lane, but Carbon6, they've already got what they had. Meditation, that helps out Mr. Turtle. But Atonement able to take him down. Predator says, sorry, buddy. And everybody else says, no problem, homie. We got what we wanted. Stole the objective away from Team Rival.
And Rival certainly not happy about that one in the slightest. Again, swinging over to this Portal Demon. Going to look for what I'd imagine to be another engagement, except hopefully this time the objective doesn't get stolen right out from under them.
Yeah, 1,000 gold lead for Carbon6 to launch to the game, but with the Portal Demon going down, that'll bite back just a little bit. And now we're back to a tie game. 404, lead not found.
But that could have been such a massive lead for Rival. Or not a massive one, but it would have been the biggest lead of the game so far had they been able to secure that Gold Fury.
Yeah, well, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Hindsight's 20/20, right? So, not going to be the case. Team Rival don't have a lead.
Rival do want to look to group up and try and establish one, though, at this point in time. That Fire Giant's looking mighty nice right now.
20-minute Fire Giant. 10 minutes after it spawns. 4 players here. Wisps will heal up. And the damage out of Atonement and Watson is pretty strong. Already down to half HP here, Taco. Carbon6 trying to at least do something. But the Fire Giant is peeled off, and here comes the fight. Welshbeastq from the sky walks right into the ultimate out of the support, and Watson's able to take out Mr. Turtle. 5-on-4 here, Team Rival with the better numbers. Predator, he's going to fall down unless he can find a way out. The clone will fall down instead. And Gnome here, 1-on-3, chasing the members out towards the north, as Auzrik is out of the fight.
Fun times with Sun Wukong. Every single time. I love it when that happens.
That makes one of us.
Because it's always happening to me, and this time around, I saw it. I seen it.
And you didn't help me out, right? Oh, Predators is here. That's not a clone. Can he steal it? Can he steal? Oh, he can't steal it just a little bit too early. Ooh, Gnome.
He might steal the life of Gnome, though, and
Yeah.
Welshbeastq just picking that one up pretty easily.
Yeah, just, I mean, he turned around and he fired a shot. Stop trying to make the hunters look good, okay?
They do look good.
Welshbeastq finds another one, his first of the game, actually. And now Team Rival, Fire Giant and all, have to play defense with Gnome down for the count. Tier 1 tower in the mid lane goes down. That's 500 gold on the side of Carbon. But they're the ones looking up at Team Rival. It's interesting. The gold, like I said, 500 gold, I call a tie. Technically, it's in Carbon's favor. But with the Fire Giant on the blue side, Team Rival have the wind in their sails.
And having 4 members strong with the Fire Giant at that is certainly nothing for Carbon6 to feel or to rest easy about, especially since Jacob still has Fire Giant and he's a support. He could definitely still be that frontlining factor that Rival need whenever they're looking for these tower sieges.
And when it comes down to it, I mean, the rest of the team having that Fire Giant is absolutely very strong. Rapio on the Nemesis also. You know, not to forget about the Nemesis either. We can see how well she does. And when it comes down to it, she has some defensive options as well. So with that Void Shield, she'll be able to play a little bit more of the front line.
And with the stone cutting sword as well, you can tell that all Rapio really wants to do is knock out whoever he ults immediately. If the Kraken from Watson isn't enough to pick him up, you can certainly expect Rapio to be right there.
And you know, he's going to be there beforehand, unleashing the ultimate prior to the Kraken, and then after it comes out, if it's not, like you said, he's just going to slice and dice and watch everybody fall down. So Rapio, as the game gets later, certainly going to be more exciting. What do you think he's building into there? The attack speed?
Probably a Kins.
I think it's going to be the chin size?
A chin size. It wouldn't surprise me if he opts for a more auto attack based build. It's a different kind of play style.
It's the classic Nemesis play style. That's what we saw when she first. Well,
you tend to see a lot of CDR mostly.
So by classic, I mean the original. So the original, actually, fun fact, she's played a support before she was played in the jungle. Once upon a time, a warrior, and so that was CDR based. But once she started being taken aggressively, we saw this. Almost every player built her attack speed oriented, because of the passive, Chinsai being a big deal. But as of late, not just as of late, but the majority, I think, of Nemesis's career has been CDR based, looking for just spamming of the ultimate. So turning the page back, Rapio instead looking for these basic attacks.
And Rival looking now for the Gold Fury, except hopefully this time they'll actually be able to secure it.
And this time they can actually take the fight as well. They have a 3,000 gold lead after some cleanup across the map. And if Carbon6 decide... That went so fast.
Carbon6 can't decide to do anything.
That went so fast. What? How did that go so fast?
Just
damage.
damage,
man. Wow.
Damage and...
Are you as surprised as me as how fast that one went down?
A little. To be honest, I am a little bit surprised.
She's not surprised at all. She's just trying to be nice to me right now. Portal team is being attacked by Team Rival, and they're just... That just went down. No, I'm just kidding. Team Rival pick up their second objective in a matter of minutes. And what used to be a tie game very quickly has been broken open. Team Rival now leading by about 5,000 gold at the 25-minute mark. Game number 1 of 2. And Team Rival also up 5 kills as well.
The scary part here for Carbon6 is that Team Rival's online.
Yeah.
100, like, no questions asked. They are ready to frag on the side of Team Rival. And anybody in Carbon6 who tries to step up to them, I'm not sure they're going to last much longer than the Gold Fury.
That's the problem, is that Team Rival is the later game team that came online earlier than Carbon6. That can't happen. That just can't. You have the Isis, you have the Susano. I mean, even Sun Wukong, your solo laner, is more of a mid-game character. This is a team. Cabrakan is one of the most devastating level 1s right now. You got to find some footing. I'm not saying you have to find that 4-minute Gold Fury, but you got to make something happen earlier than this. Otherwise, you get Team Rivaled. Right now, big damage coming out of the left side. Predators find the stun on the back end, but it's not going to be enough. Auzrik takes a big chunk, meted back up. Nice play out of the support. Still, Predators trying to make it happen, and all the while, Hunter just taking down the tower. He knows his role. Well done by Rival Atonement. And the team is going to disengage One tower is all they need, still pushing up their lead even further, now up by about 7K.
That frenzy almost gave Carbon the life that they needed, but unfortunately able to find the pick onto anyone for Team Rival.
And let it be known that I like that play. There's a lot of heated discussion about rituals right now, and that I think is excellent. Watching a team down 6,000 gold, be able to fight into a team, that's a cool option. I think that's really neat. But Carbon, even with the frenzy, can't keep Team Rival at bay.
And the issue here is that in order to buy that frenzy, it's still a decent amount of gold.
Oh,
it's 750 gold that you have to worry about. And when you're the team that's on the losing side of things,
yeah,
that's 750 gold for nothing.
Yeah,
essentially, that's a rough one.
We see our solo laner picking up another one there. Frenzy in the hands of Predators. And we'll see how he works out. Still not finished with his build. And like you said, buying these rituals actually keeps you down. So rough stuff for Carbon 6 at the moment. Looking to look towards Team Rivals as they start the Fire Giant. Big man already down to about half HP. Gnome.
They want the steal.
Zoning slowly. Jacob zoning slowly. Carbon 6. Like you said, they're looking for the steal, but they're not making the move. There's the frenzy, and that's going to bring players into the Fire Giant area. Gnome, he's half HP. There's the Isis ultimate. And the Isis ultimate is of no impact. It's used on the back end. Now re-engaging. Rapio low. Beautiful Kraken gonna have two on the left-hand side. And Watson able to help things out, push things forward. Give his Hunter a kill. Give his Hunter a double kill. 10 in total for Team Rival. 4 for our man Atonement.
But Atonement taking the spill now from Mr. Turtle. And that's the one god on your team you don't want to see falling down at this point in time. Without the Ullr now, it'll take a little bit longer for them to secure this Fire Giant. They'll most likely still be able to pick it up for Rival, but Atonement not having that, I mean, that's not
a big deal.
Best situation.
No, it's a really big deal. Fire Giant, I mean, not only does it amplify your power, which being one of these ability-based hunters, very big deal for Atonement, but also helps out your tower push, and that allows Rival to kind of do what he does best even better. Either way, I don't think anything's really keeping him down, so Team Rival at the moment, they're maybe a slight stutter, but still certainly smooth sailing in the lead, up 8,000 gold or so.
And now it's really just going to fall onto Atonement for positioning, because Carbon 6, knowing that Atonement won't have that Fire Giant available, they're just going to want to kill him as soon as possible and make those Phoenix Sieges take as long as possible.
But, you know, at the same time, Team Rival have a very good punish composition. If you collapse onto Atonement, somebody's getting Nemesis ulted, and all of your friends are getting Krakened. So there's a nice built-in protection system for Team Rival's Hunter. Gold Fury started by the team in the lead, and nothing Carbon 6 can do about it.
Additionally, 2 frenzies now on the side of Team Rival as opposed to Carbon 6's 1.
That's going to be a situation where we see, I mean, Rival's going to be able to pop their frenzy, and then Carbon's going to be able to respond. And then Rival says, we got another one. And then Carbon can't do anything about it.
And it's Welshbeastq, though, who's been picking up these frenzies for Carbon 6, or at least he has the one for now. And the thing is, his build's not done yet.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of the sharing come out from the ritual buyers, but yeah, no. Welshbeastq is probably the one guy that I don't want buying these rituals, you know? I think the solo laner, we saw Predators buy 1 or 2 earlier. I think the solo laner, sure, fine. No big deal. I think your support, it gets depending on the situation, but you're a hunter. I want to see my hunter dressed to the nines when we're ready to fight, and buying those rituals certainly keep your build stunted.
And for Team Rival, though, they don't have any sort of stunting. I mean, you had the same thing for Atonement electing to pick up the frenzy as opposed to holding off on that goal to finish off what I'm sure would be a Deathbringer, but considering the stage that the game is in right now, 1-1 team fight from Rival with Fire Giant, that's game.
Right now, nothing is stunting Team Rival, but they're going to stunt on the opposition, jumping forward, looking for some kills. Kraken comes out on a Team Rival, and it's going to be just good enough to take down the Firebird. Rapio picks up 1. Taco still continuing. We're going to see the meditation to allow Team Rival to continue the fight, and they're going to shift over to the left side looking for another Firebird.
Got to take the best Phoenix possible, though, and furthest away from the Fire Giant side.
Big stun.
Frenzy has been popped now on the side of Carbon 6.
And there's Auzrik trying to wiggle his way out of trouble, but unlikely to do so. Predators unleashes his clone. That's a clone on the bottom side. That's the real one on the left side. He's going to slow down Rapio, get pushed forward, slow down one more time, and find his Ox barreling into his own safe haven. Left Phoenix, toast. Mid Phoenix, also toast. Right side still stands for now.
And Rival, you can tell that they wanted, they're just taking the longer pathing, allowing Jacob to just toss out as many wisps as possible, because the more sustain you have, better you're looking, and Rival they're looking pretty healthy for this final siege.
You catch me before? You catch me before? I said nothing was stunting them, but they were going to stun the opposition.
I saw you.
You like that one?
My guy.
You like that one?
I'm top of the notch.
Yeah, there you go.
I also like how that right Phoenix went down.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to be all three birds. All three birds. All three of them.
Those waves are going, the fire creeps pouring into the side of Carbon 6. Fire Giant's going to be respawning pretty shortly here as well, and you can bet that Rival's certainly looking to secure it.
I mean.
And then just rush in.
Yeah. This is, well, that's that actually. That's that actually. Carbon 6, they're going to go in F6. Carbon F6 right here.
You can't.
You like that one?
No.
You like that one?
Stop.
You like that one? Carbon 6 down for the count here. TMNT, as they were previously known, have looked good all season. That might have been one of their rougher games I think we've seen all split.
I think that was a smart decision by them, though. At that point in time, the likelihood of Rival throwing a fight so significantly to where they end up losing the lead and the game themselves. I mean, 3 Phoenixes down. You're going to have Fire Giant, 5 members strong of Rival with a much better late game draft. That's just a recipe for disaster. So save yourself a couple of minutes, have your team freshened up, and just completely wipe the slates for the next game and take in mind what went wrong in game number 1 and move forward.